Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But it comes at a price. Samantha Horwitz and John Salerno work with police departments across the country to bring valuable recovery, insight resources, and workshops. A Badge of Honor TV brings those professionals to you so we can come together and revitalize communities through a better understanding of what's at stake and what's required for repair. So take a load off and turn up your TV. It's about to get real.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam. On this Mental Health Monday, we are powered by the OBBM Network. You can catch us on all your streaming internet channels across the board. Man, how's everything going, Sam? We are doing PTSI Awareness Month. I don't like to say PTSD, PTSI Awareness Month. And you're trying to raise the bar, trying to knock that stigma out. And our show really tries to identify the stigmas that have plagued our law enforcement throughout the country for a long time.
Yeah, our law enforcement and our veterans as well. And veterans, of course, that serve as first responders now, that the career follows them right in. And, it depends. Well, it doesn't really depend, but we've heard stories from lots of our guests sharing very openly about carrying their traumas from either their childhood or, again, if they served, right into the workplace and not really dealing with it at all. And then the traumas in the workplace that happen and stresses that they are under every single day. And I tell you, I have to take a deep breath every time I just go on social media, because the absolute absurdity of what is going on, it's almost like, you know, the song, Who Let the Dogs Out?
Yeah.
Who let the children out?
You know, with these teen takeovers, the resources are being depleted within the police department because people can't even gather now, even at graduations. I don't know what the issue is, but even at graduations now, we're having group fights and mass brawls, and you can't even go to the beach or a concert or a venue or a watch party without something happening. And these officers are really being pushed to the test across our country. And parents have to start waking up, man. You know, you watch these YouTube videos and you see them, many of them all smiling and laughing, and, you know, they're just causing havoc across the country. And I know some of our lawmakers are putting curfews in place, and they're trying to do different things and hold parents accountable. But, you know, it is getting to that point where, you know, we're going to start losing more young lives because someone's going to bring a gun, someone's going to bring a knife, someone's going to get run over, and there's going to be unnecessary harm and deaths to these children, and they're going to blame the police department, and it's not the police department's fault.
Yeah, well, I mean, you and I both know, we've seen it in Dallas and the Fort Worth, the areas where there's lots of restaurants, and how they were, this goes back a bunch of years, how, you know, it's like, hey, if you're under 18, sorry, you can't come in. And that's even with your parents. So it's like, don't dine here. And yep. I have a feeling, at least in Dallas and Fort Worth, maybe some other of the bigger cities, to try and get in front of this. And of course, we've got the World Cup coming here, and trying to get in front of it so that the people that have spent their hard-earned money to go to events like the World Cup or one of the more expensive restaurants, where it's not that flash mob chaos.
Yeah, it's sad for our officers out there. You know, they have to deal with enough real issues than a bunch of spoiled little brats running around and causing havoc and making it bad for everybody else. So,
yeah, and, you know, stress can happen inside the department just by what you do, what your role is inside the department. And our guest tonight is a prime example of that. And yeah, and so without further ado, let's bring Rob DeMarco. Rob, welcome to A Badge of Honor TV.
Hey, Rob.
Doing. Thank you for having me.
You bet. And with that, yeah, there you go. Brand new author, as well. And we'll talk about the book, and then because it's going to be a series. Is that correct? As I understand
that is, yes.
So before we get too deep into that, just tell everybody watching and listening on their favorite podcast app a little bit about you and your background.
Well, I'm a retired first grade detective from NYPD. I had many assignments over the course of my career, a few years in internal affairs, but I was also in homicide and narcotics and joint terrorist task force with the FBI. And I worked detective squads. And when I retired after 9/11, my wife got sick from 9/11. And I went into healthcare and I became a surgical first assist. And I did that until I was incapacitated by multiple back surgeries.
Wow. Now, your wife was an officer as well.
Yeah, she was a detective and got cancer. She still has it.
Oh.
Well, sending our prayers. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it never seems to, well, you just never know. All of us that were down there, John, not to get personal, John just went for his scan, always keeping track of everything. And that's, that's our norm now. So healing prayers for sure. So your time in the NYPD, did you guys work together, or were you guys near each other at all?
Well, we did work for a brief period of time, actually, in internal affairs.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's hey, we don't want to lose. Actually, that should spur on people staying on the show, watching, because you want to have a full understanding of internal affairs from both sides, because we're all about exposing this monster called post-traumatic stress. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what your assignment is in the PD. Sometimes let's just say we need internal affairs for a reason. We've all seen those news reports. NYPD has, is it the famous class of 90 or 91?
I don't remember, but there were a few of them actually.
Yeah. So I don't think anybody's a stranger to that, but let's dive in a little bit deeper in terms of your career and the things. How did being in internal affairs how was it rewarding? And then on the flip side, how did it hurt you?
I wouldn't say it was rewarding. Nobody does a dance and celebrates when a case is closed. I mean, but unfortunately, when we reveal the truth, you have to deal with the truth. And it makes a lot of us uncomfortable, and we don't want to deal with it. So it wasn't rewarding in that sense. You actually feel bad. You feel bad that, the job is taking a hit and that somebody's life is going to be affected and they made poor choices. And then you have to deal with the isolation and being shunned by your colleagues, because that follows you, unfortunately, for the remainder of your career. No matter where you went, no matter what you did, you worked in internal affairs, and everybody remembers that.
Yeah, even if you did like a little 2-year stint or whatever you did, and it gets to your command before you even do, and it gets to you whatever bureau you went to before. And that's where this, when we talk about stigma of post-traumatic stress, sometimes the job is its own worst enemy when it comes to stigmatizing people. Like I coughed and I kidded around when because I know you were in Brooklyn South for a little while, mm-hmm. And even in the academy, when I got out of the academy, they were like, "You're going to Brooklyn North," and it was like, okay, Brooklyn North was like that was the hot spot, man. That was the busy precincts. It was like either Brooklyn North or going up into the Bronx. And if you went into like Manhattan South, you had a hook. You must know somebody, and they looked at you different. And cops looked at each other differently, and we're all doing the same job. We all face the same dangers.
Mhm.
But when it comes to integrity of the job, and especially back when we were on the job, we had the Michael Dowds coming out of the Michael Dowds. We had the 30-30, the Dirty 30. We had my precinct, which was 7-7. We had the Buddy Boys. We had a lot of integrity issues, a lot of dirty cops that caused a shadow over the world's greatest department. And if it wasn't, and now I see it, and after talking to you, Rob, I'll tell you, I was one of those guys. I had that IAD, or the Internal Affairs Division stigma, hated Internal Affairs. I never had any bad issues with them. I was investigated twice and exonerated on both my cases. But after you grow up and you learn the maturity of the job, you understand the role that you guys played, and it was such a vital role within the NYPD.
Yeah.
Let's,
we got to take our first break. Let's talk about that vital role when we come back. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back in a moment.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% US-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
Hey, well, you can make an impact. You can make an impact on the lives of our first responders, our veterans, protecting free speech, 2A, protecting life. And the way you do that is by getting Patriot Mobile, because you get to do that directly. That's where your money goes, rather than being with the big 3, because they'll do whatever the heck they want on any given day with your money. So it's super easy right now to get started. You do not have to switch equipment unless you want to, because they got all the latest high-tech gear in terms of mobile devices. So 972-PATRIOT. Tell them a Badge of Honor sent you by using promo code BADGE. And you will talk to a member that is housed up in North Texas, because that's where Patriot Mobile operates from, right here in Texas. Or you can go online and you go to patriotmobile.com/badge, and you will see, it'll take you right to our page. You fill out the information, and a member of the Patriot Mobile team will call you back at a convenient time that you schedule. So get started today, and when you do, you get a free month to try it out. Don't like it, you can always go back. So now back to the show.
Hey, welcome back to Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam, and our guest, first grade detective out of the NYPD, Robert DeMarco. Before we left, we were talking about integrity of the job. We all swore an oath at whatever graduation ceremony, wherever you were. You raised your right hand and you swore to protect and serve to the best of your ability. And integrity was a high part of that. And, Rob, you went into Internal Affairs Division with the hopes to keep that integrity, to keep that badge shined and not dulled, and, that's a stress, because when a job doesn't like you, and the people, your brothers and sisters within the department are told differently about what the duties that you're performing, it's a whole different level of stress.
Yeah, it really is. It's very stressful. When I was leaving, they asked me if I was crazy, because, most people don't leave there because you have to deal with that. But I wanted to get back to the street and do what I wanted to do. And I did feel it, and it's very real. It's still real today. But I have to ask people, and I have to ask your viewers, what would you do? Would you rather have somebody who is not familiar with what it means to be a police officer and how to work and all of the stresses and different things that you have to deal with and decisions you have to make coming in and investigating? Or would you rather have your own who are fully aware of all those risks that you take every single day? And I think that's very important, to have somebody showing that we can police ourselves, that we're capable of doing it.
Well, we had the Civilian Complaint Review Board, and we all knew that, which is, was a farce. It still is a farce. They are not cops. They don't know what we go through each and every day. So you're more likely to be exonerated by one of your own who understands.
Yeah.
When you got into let's take that step out of IAB into the command right out of IAB. How was that welcome?
Be totally honest with you. The commander at the time, I walked into the office. He had his back towards me. And I went in and introduced myself. He wouldn't turn around, and he asked if I knew him. And I said, no. He says, good. That means you haven't been investigating me. And that's how it started.
Wow.
But that makes for brutal working conditions. It makes it hard for you to do your job. So when you leave IAB, if you go to homicide or robbery, and you got a team that is always looking at you out of the side of their eye, and my eye always looks out the side, but you're looking at the side of your eye, it's hard to do your job properly, and it really sends you home not fulfilled.
No, but there were some good guys there who took me under their wing. I mean, listen, I was a detective and I did different types of investigations, but I wasn't doing homicides and the regular squad investigations. And they did teach me how to do that. So some of them were really good. And my hat goes off to them. I worked with some great, great guys.
Yeah, I always said if you're not a dirty cop, you have nothing to worry about with IED or internal affairs. People got under the impression that they're always watching you. They're always watching you, which really isn't the truth, unless they get a kite on you, which is, a complaint.
What?
A kite is a complaint.
A complaint.
A complaint. If they get a kite,
like, that's a kite too. What?
Because they used to shoot them around the office. But a kite is a complaint, and if you got a complaint, they would investigate. Sometimes you'd be investigated and you'd be exonerated without even knowing it, because they'd find that the initial kite was false or you're not anonymous, and it was just some civilian making some complaint. So
we closed
out before you even knew about it.
We closed out so many of those cases, and eventually I wound up in Group 1, which is the major case squad of internal affairs. No White Sox, nothing like that. These were all heavy, heavy cases. And these were, one of the cases that I worked, and it is in the book, about possibility of some corrupt officers knew about another officer doing something, and he wound up getting shot, and we had to investigate that. Was that, in fact, what happened? Or was there nefarious circumstances around it? There were some really interesting cases there, and you don't know. And the thing that they don't understand, or maybe they understand it, but they don't forgive you, is you're not making the complaint. The complaints are coming in. They have to be investigated by somebody.
Correct.
And they seem to have no problem if it's a supervisor doing it, but they have a problem if it's their own doing it. And I don't understand that, because they need detectives to do it too.
Well, isn't that kind of the same if their supervisor is looking into the action? The supervisor is their supervisor. It's one of their own looking at what happened and then passing it to internal affairs if it needs to, or if it's predicated upon something else. Or was there a level of, hey, I want it to go to my supervisor because we're best buds kind of thing?
No, in internal affairs, they're supervisors in internal affairs, and basically as a detective, you're working with a supervisor, you're paired up, you're partners with a supervisor, and the two of you become a team. And that's how it typically works. Now, it doesn't always work that way. I worked with other detectives also doing some, especially in that operation that's in the book, where I had a lot of, work with detectives, and it wasn't, the supervisors weren't really out there.
Okay, well, let's talk about the book when we come back from our next break. Stay tuned, everybody. We will be right back.
Okay.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam, with retired detective, first grade detective Robert DeMarco, and author of the book, The Line That Held. You know, and I hope this is not triggering or anything, but I'm going to bring up Serpico, right? You know, and I definitely don't want to call you a modern day Serpico, but a lot of people will turn around and say, well, IAB is like Serpico. Now, everybody knows who Serpico was. He was a cop in Manhattan who saw dirty things and called them out, right? Because he honored the job. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Internal Affairs Division got kites. They got complaints, and they had to investigate complaints. Just like a regular cop gets a complaint about a civilian or a drug deal or anything else, we have to investigate that. So you kept the integrity of the job. You kept, you know, what 99% of the cops out there wanted: a clean badge, no bad press, and honorable retirement. So that's, you kept everybody, you know, checks and balances, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, the complaints that came in, these were not, you know, White Sox complaints. Somebody, you know, not wearing their hat or drinking on the job. That's not what we were investigating. We're talking about people who are stealing money, stealing guns, stealing drugs, you know, doing raids on apartments, you know, intercepting. They sit on a wiretap and hear information, and then they went and raided the apartment before the police went and raided the apartment. That's what we were dealing with.
Yeah.
And if accountability is anti-police, then people need to examine that and say, what's wrong? Because that's not anti-police. Right.
I mean, you have to really rethink your policing duties if you think that the Internal Affairs Division is wrong in doing what they do. You know, like I said, and I'll bring up the Dirty 30 and Michael Dowd and, you know, the Buddy Boys and all these things where cops were out there on the take, stealing money, robbing drug dealers, and really making a bad name. And not only that, putting other cops' lives at danger, in severe danger, because you're really running both sides of the law. I mean, we look at the mob. The mob had two detectives in the maybe the 6-2 precinct, you know, doing hits for them.
Yep.
You know, Louis Eppolito and what's his name? You know, they were paid by the mob, and they were doing hits because they were getting another couple of grand a week as a payoff. You're selling out the badge, and if you're going to sell out the badge, you're hurting not only the NYPD, you're hurting every police officer in this country.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And you know, they made movies about these guys. So because it was so, people would never think, what do you mean cops worked for the mob?
Right.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you had some good officers that made some very, very poor decisions and put everybody in jeopardy. And some people don't realize that. I mean, when we investigated that command, I mean, the whole command, the whole shift got transferred. Everybody got transferred. It was crazy. We couldn't believe the number of complaints that came in. And my question is, you know, nobody said anything. Nobody ever said anything until these complaints came in.
Yeah.
So you've got a new book out, and it's the first in what is going to be a series. So there we go, The Line That Held. Yes. So you've got is this based on all the cases that you worked?
Well, this is basically about a detective who spends years chasing criminals, And then he finds himself after a botched drug raid in internal affairs. And he starts investigating officers from within the department. The deeper he goes, the more he realizes that the case isn't just about making arrest anymore. Now it's about what is a man willing to do once he knows the truth? What is he willing to stand on? And so a large portion of the book is about this operation and about this investigation that took place in internal affairs. It is fictionalized. I did change names and change events and some outcomes. I wanted to protect people who may have been affected by this investigation and by the story. And it also allowed me to, protect them, but still relay the crux of the story and keep the emotional truth.
There you go. And so this detective in the book, it's not you, it's what's his name?
Tony DeLuca.
There you go. So he's going to continue on do you have like a master plan of how many books or?
It's going to be 2 more books.
Okay.
By the end of this book, he is already out of internal affairs, and you see that in the book, and then he will continue from there.
Now, Sam, I want to bring up a good point about this book. You know me, my reading comprehension is horrible, right? Because of post-traumatic stress, I lose my memory.
Yeah, but this is like reading reports, because I'm reading it, and same with Mike's book that we both have. It's like reading reports, the chapters, and it's written brilliantly.
It really is. This is between, and I told Rob this. This is really the first book that has really captured my interest. Like Mike's book is the stories of all the cops across the country. Right. Those are the war stories. But this book really captured my soul. It really, where you really dig and you want to know, you want to turn the page, you want to get to the next page. It's an amazing book. And for me, this is like one of the first books I've ever read since I left the job, because it is that intriguing.
You are in John's, I think I would say top 5, but I think it's maybe 4 or 3 because
well, and just so your audience knows, it is in production right now to become an audiobook. It will be an audiobook for people who have difficulty reading. Quite a few people have reached out to me and requested that.
I want to see the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, you said Serpico before, they made that into a movie. But if you think about some of the movies that they've released over the years that focus on internal affairs, would you say they do a fair job, or is it just completely botched, Hollywoodized? And
I think really the only one that I saw like that was Serpico. I think that was pretty good, but the internal affairs really changed. There was a big transformation that happened in the 90s, and a lot of officers may not know this, but when I first got there on Poplar Street, that's where they were located, there were still guys who were dirty themselves and had made deals, and they were now in internal affairs, and that's where they stayed, and that's how they were protected. That's not the case anymore. That's not the case, and that wasn't the case when we came in. There was a new wave. They were changing it up. And they wanted to bring real street cops in to do these cases, and I thought we were pretty successful. I proposed this operation, and it was very successful, and that scared a lot of people. I got to be honest, it scared a lot of people.
Now, Rob, you said in part of your story and a whole bit, you were kind of left alone at one point, had to do some stuff on your own, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Why was that?
Well, we had some cooperating officers, and I had to meet with them on a regular basis and equip them with recording devices and debrief them and deal with them. And I'm sure you've had cooperators before in narcotics and everything else, and you're handling them the entire time. There's a gamut of emotions. They are terrified. They know their job is gone. Their life has changed. They're trying to avoid jail. And you have to try and keep them in the game, to accomplish what you need them to accomplish. And it's a very difficult job. It's not easy. And it's taxing. It's emotionally taxing because you feel for this person. You meet their family, you meet their children, and you understand their entire life is about to change.
Because of one bad decision.
Yes.
Or a few bad decisions.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah. And you explain some of that in the book. We've got to take our next quick break here, and we will be right back to continue our conversation with Robert DeMarco. Stay tuned, everybody.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance we'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam, with first grade detective NYPD Robert DeMarco, and author of the new book, The Line That Held. Before we left, we were talking about integrity of the job. We were talking about a couple of different things, poor decisions that some cops make out there in the field and how it affects everybody. But Rob, I know when we first met, we discussed post-traumatic stress. And, you battle, Sam battles, I battle, everybody battles in their own way. And I asked you when you were on the 99, well, what made you sit down and write a book? Because, it's not an easy task. There are a lot of different modalities that people will take for post-traumatic stress, be it hunting, skiing, outdoor activities. But journaling is probably the number one most used within, when you go seek therapy, they tell you to journal and write down your thoughts and put your thoughts down onto paper and put your words. That's how you started, if I remember, correct?
That is how I started. I felt like I wanted to share the story. I thought that it would help me relive some of it, but also get some of it out, because it is a heavy burden, unfortunately, working in internal affairs and always being labeled that way, and always, everybody has a skewed opinion of you, regardless of what you did and how you performed. That's always in the background. Like you on the phone calling against them, and that's not the case at all.
But when you put the words to paper, like I said, people are always making accusations or saying things about you, or then you start getting dehumanized, and you feel, is this true? Am I really a bad person? And you start looking down at yourself. As you put the words onto paper, was it a healing process for you? Did you start to go, you know what? I'm proud of my work. I shouldn't feel this way.
Well, I think that's a message of the book too, that I hope the readers will walk away with. Everybody has a moral compass, and the question has to be asked, what would you do in that situation? Would you turn and look away? Would you walk away? Would you not say anything? That's important. And unfortunately, this is a weight that's been on me for many, many years, and still is on me. And I don't want people to feel sorry for me by any stretch. Don't get me wrong, but it's a question that everybody needs to ask themselves. Everybody needs to ask themselves. And when I started writing it down, because I've always asked myself and questioned myself, did I do the right thing? But the truth of the matter is, if I were back there and it was today, I would do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it sounds like, we've talked about moral injury as well. And it sounds like you got moral injury involved in everything else that you've not only witnessed that left their marks on you, through the job, but also that you knew what was right. You know what's wrong as a police officer. You swear the oath. you're there to serve and protect and not go the other way.
Yeah, and regardless of what you accomplished in your life, I worked in the squad afterwards. I worked in homicide afterwards. I worked in JTTF afterwards. Regardless, I was at 9/11. That's doesn't matter. You still have that label attached, no matter what, and that's pretty shameful, I think.
Yeah, because you shouldn't be labeled. You shouldn't be labeled. And that's what. So, like I said in the beginning, sometimes we are our own worst enemies with that. But just know that 99% of the police officers out there respect you for what you did, and you keeping that badge and keeping the oath sacred and keeping it at the high integrity that it should stand on. So that's what you provided.
Were you assigned? Did the supervisor just say, "Hey, you're going to internal affairs"? I mean,
no. I had an incident in narcotics that it was a botched drug raid, and I saw some things that I wasn't comfortable with, and I spoke up about it, and that's when I was referred there. They didn't want to make a case out of it. They didn't want to do anything. They basically wanted to get rid of me, and they didn't feel comfortable with me being there anymore because of what I was saying, I suppose. And then I said to myself, I said, okay, well, I don't want to be a part of this, so let me take the next step. And I did. Okay. And at first I was very apprehensive, but I have to tell you, I worked with some amazing guys there, guys who bleed blue. They really do. And they were tremendous investigators, and nobody was out to get anyone. They just were investigating the cases. And when the facts come out, well, now we have to deal with these facts. And what are we doing with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I said this book, The Line That Held, along with your book, Sam, both of you journaled through your experience. And it's not something that's just thought out as a fictional thing. These are stories between Rob and Sam's. Both their books were amazing to read because you could feel your heart in them, and it's put into words, and the reader can feel that. And that's what makes the book so well read.
Well, yeah. I was hoping
on both fronts.
I was hoping that the reader would actually feel like they were sitting beside Tony DeLuca at the desk, and they were experiencing everything. And that's something that you don't get in many stories. You get the police chase, you get the bad guy. They get that. But Tony is not trying to be a hero. He makes mistakes. He's not perfect. And hopefully you can get that he's not perfect, but you're going to sit beside him and see exactly what he deals with.
He's real. That's the whole point of it is you can relate to it.
In one passage of this book with Tony, with the DOA, you guys went over to that DOA, you smelt it, and I was reading that part, and I'm like, and this is going to sound really corny, but I've been on a lot of DOAs. I've been, when I read that passage about how Tony felt that it changed him because he was decomposed, he had no face, he died alone, and he was thinking about his father and stuff. I smelt the body through the words. I pictured the scene because the way you wrote it, you could have just wrote it any way, but the way you wrote that passage connected, and I was like, wow, this is vivid.
Thank you.
Well, that's why the book is perfect for. I mean, it's gonna bring you into that. If you
trigger alert
if
for people.
You serve, yeah. Well, I mean, hey, we talk about awareness being the key, but that's the whole point.
Yeah.
In keeping it real, and Robert, I didn't ask you before the show started if you're a coffee drinker, but. John and I was like, hey, you're from New York, probably drink some coffee. So we drink East Texas Legends coffee, founded by Ben and Amanda Holmes. And it reflects their journey from Ben's Marine Corps service and law enforcement career, overcoming post-traumatic stress to finding purpose in ranching. Relocating to an East Texas ranch, they identified a need for a local coffee brand. Now they're opening their first coffee shop in Lindale, Texas, rooted in faith, family, and community. Their mission: inspire purposeful conversations over coffee. So drink coffee, be legendary. Go to etxlegendscoffee.com. Use promo code BADGE for 15% off coffee and merch. You can just hold your phone up if you're watching us on TV and get that QR code. It'll take you right to the page. My favorite is the, let me turn this off, is the Diablo, the dark roast with a little hitter of some spiced maple.
You're so bougie.
A little bit, yeah, little hitter, like two tablespoons. So that's what I like. But the whole point is, you know, just like you saw our Patriot Mobile commercial, it's supporting where we came from, right? Yep. So why not make East Texas Legends coffee your go-to? I promise, John promises, you will not be disappointed. And this is merch. This will keep, it's like 8,000 degrees. So if you like iced coffee, it's going to keep your coffee cool all day, and vice versa if you like to do the hot stuff all day long, because you turn your air conditioner on to like 69.
So Amanda, I will not leave this at my daughter's house no more. Thank you for the new one.
Absolutely. But yeah, so pick up the coffee today. Robert, we're talking about the emotions that Tony DeLuca and his experiences, your experiences written through him, can bring anybody back to a scene. And it's real. It's you. Names changed. But you know, there's lots of police officers out there that still, despite coming from Mental Health Awareness Month last month and Post-Traumatic Stress Injury Month this month, that feel like they're alone. And the more books that we have like yours, like Mike Barron's, I mean, there's so many of them, John, that we've had on authors on over the years, the more you realize you're not alone. And it doesn't matter that I didn't have the same badge that you did. It's like, okay, he gets it. And I think that is what is really meaningful.
Yeah, we've all been in those situations, and there's a camaraderie that should be felt by everybody. And I agree with that. I mean, the thin blue line is real, but to keep the thin blue line, you have to have integrity.
Yeah, you do. And that's that two-sided thing that we straddle. We're a family that's on that thin blue line, but there is a point. You're not covering stuff up for your buddies, right. Being part of that thin blue line, that we are cut from a different cloth, and the level of integrity has to be maintained. Hey, I've got your website up for all of you listening on your favorite podcast app, robertademarco.com. It'll be in the show notes as well, robertademarco.com. You can find out more about Rob, his career, and of course, grab a copy of this book. Robert, where else can people connect with you on social media?
I'm on Facebook. Facebook is probably the most common thing right now.
Okay.
You know, I just want to reiterate too, if you purchase a copy this month,
yes,
Rob has been generous enough to donate all the royalty proceeds from this book to the Brotherhood for the Fallen chapter here in Fort Worth. I want to thank you, Rob. The Brotherhood for the Fallen sends out 2 officers from each division to across the country to honor and pay respects to fallen officers killed in the line of duty. What you're doing, Robert, by donating this is you're helping them get airfare, helping them get hotels so they can honor those families across the country. So Thank you so much. And by purchasing this book, you people who are listening now, by purchasing this book, you are also helping the Brotherhood for the Fallen provide their service. So it's a making a difference type of thing by purchasing the book.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I think it's a great cause. It was an opportunity for me to give back. I mean, the job gave me so much, and it really made me who I am today. And I love it. I love law enforcement, and I miss it. I miss it a lot, to be honest. Although today there are definitely new challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ladies, great Father's Day gift. What an amazing Father's Day gift for your man.
So it's a great opportunity to give back, and that's a great cause. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a phenomenal organization, and we're just so happy that we could have you on to tell everybody about it. So yeah, everybody go to robertademarco.com, get your copy, and again, help Brotherhood of the Fallen Fort Worth chapter to do their good deeds. Yes, John.
You also got a couple of book signings coming up, right, Rob?
Yeah, I just had one on Monday. I have another one in October. I have another one. They haven't given me a date yet, but another one. The book is available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes and Noble. Amazon's probably the most popular for people. I just adjusted the price. I want people to buy it so I can donate to this cause for this month. So please jump on board.
And where is your next book signing?
The next one is going to be in Mount Dora in Florida.
Mount Dora in Florida. So if you're listening anywhere in Florida, you want to go meet Rob, get a personalized book signed, that's the place to go.
Yeah, are you ever going to make it to Texas?
I would like to come back there. Yes, I would. And,
All right.
We have to arrange that.
Have
we have a lot going on here, but if
Yeah.
we arrange that, I will come.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rob, for coming on tonight, talking about the book. And remember, folks, this is just I'll call it installment 1.
Yeah.
So there are going to be 2 more books, and I love series novels that continue. And then who knows, maybe one day we'll be able to turn on the TV and watch Tony DeLuca in action and see what's going on behind the scenes.
Only if John's going to play Tony.
Yeah, you want
Tony.
John to play Tony? Hey, yo, how you doing?
Hey, oh.
Yeah. You better go get your SAG certificate or whatever.
I got my SAG card.
Okay.
I can do it.
Yeah, there we go. So thank you, everybody. Go to robertademarco.com. That's Rob's website. Pick up a copy of the book or go on Amazon. The prices are going to be the same, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that all the proceeds from this month can go to the Brotherhood for the Fallen, the Fort Worth chapter. Rob, again, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your stories, for keeping it a little bit suspenseful so that you got to get the book, people.
Well, I don't want to give it away.
Yeah,
exactly. You gave it enough away that I think it's very intriguing. And like I said, a lot of people will be able to definitely connect with it. So thank you so much.
Rob,
thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Stay blessed, brother.
Bless you.
All right. We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, I love series books. So first one is fun and can't wait for the next 2. We have got a bunch of announcements to do tonight with upcoming events. And as I'm bringing this up on email here, the first is our friends Liz and Joe Bartholomew. They have Responders Retreat and in beautiful Wisconsin. And what you want to do is go to firstrespondersretreat.org and you want to secure your spot. So if you are a first responder, this is a perfect time for you to get away. It's end of September into October, so for a week, and decompress. The most amazing way to have peer support, just talk about the stuff that we don't want to talk about, but we're doing it with each other. So the barriers are down right there because everybody gets everybody. So firstrespondersretreat.org. And then we have got our friend BJ Ganem, who was on the show a few weeks ago from Sierra Delta. They have got a charity golf classic that is happening Monday, September 21st. If you are in Connecticut or you want to play golf in Connecticut, go fly there. Monday, September 21st, it is 10 a.m. and things wrap up after 6 p.m. that night. They've got a whole lineup all day long. Sponsorships are available. And if you want to give back to this amazing organization, you can go for dinner and grab tickets there. So go to Sierra Delta, their website, and it is, if I can get back to, if I can make my stuff work, you can get with BJ directly. BJ Ganem, that's GANEM at SierraDelta.com. If you want to email him, say I'm in, or just go to SierraDelta.com and it's on the website. You can register. Also, the end of September, the very last weekend in September, we are taking over Texas. With whom? With Mikhail, aka the Dookie on X. We're taking over Allen, Texas. And what that means is we are going to be there learning how to live at 100%. Dukes has an amazing group that are involved in fitness, that are former, retired first responders, security folks, you name it. They're not gym rats. These are some very educated folks, and they're all coming to Allen, Texas. And the last weekend in September, go to TexasTakeover100.com. Secure your reservation now. And so if you want to learn from some of the best in fitness out there about everything, where their mindset is, supplements, they're going to be in a gym, taking over a gym. You want to come out. You want to be part of that. So TexasTakeover100.com. If you are you feel like you're like in the zone and you want to meet like-minded people from across the United States, you want to come to Allen, Texas, TexasTakeover100.com. And hey, guess what? We'll be there. We are so blessed and honored to be the beneficiaries of Texas Takeover. And we can't wait to meet you all. So TexasTakeover100.com. I talked about where to get your coffee. Go get Rob's book. Again, it is robertademarco.com. And we have been completely blessed this year again by Carry the Load. Thank you, Carry the Load, for an amazing Memorial May, an amazing way to spend Memorial Day weekend with our brothers and sisters who wear all different uniforms, and just a way to meaningfully say thank you, bringing back the true meaning of Memorial Day. So thank you for that so much. Hey, you want to find out where we are, what we're doing, how you can have us come to your department, talk about wellness and resiliency, really put the key pieces in place so that you can finish your career in the best place possible, both physically and mentally, or you're just starting your career and you want a firm foundation. Go to badgeofhonor.org and just fill out the form. Excuse me, and you can contact us or just give us a call. We're always here to help. So with that, like I said, there's so much going on. Huge announcement. Thank you, OBBM Network TV. We are now part of Spreely TV. So if you guys have never heard of Spreely, Spreely TV, it stands for speech. What is it? I'm already going to mess it up. Speak freely. That's what it is. Speak freely. Right. Speak freely. Spreely. put together. So they've got a great lineup of already a lot of folks, podcasters that you guys know. You'll know their names. We're there, and a bunch of other shows. So Spreely TV, thank you OBBM for doing that. We are so grateful. And so to all the first responders out there, first of all, grab a copy of Robert's book. Okay, read it. Reach out to him, and reach out to us. You will connect with this book. Promise you. Thank you, first responders, for holding that thin blue line, for putting yourselves out there with all of the chaos that is going on every single day. You have got prayer warriors behind you, praying for your safe return home every single night. Thank you for keeping our communities safe. To our veterans, thank you for fighting the good fight that allows John and I to do a show like this every single week. And for all of our active duty personnel spread out across the globe, thank you for keeping our shores safe here at home. We know you are in a lot of harm's way. One only needs to check out social media every day. So we are praying for your safe return as well. John, take us home.
All right. Well, to all those that are battling, woke up exhausted today from the mental stress and the strain, we hear you. We see you. You're not alone. You made it through today. We're proud of you. And we want to see you tomorrow. Peace.
Till next week, everybody. Take care.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBM Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.